Hello everybody and welcome to my Photoshop class where we're going to discuss changing the color of this lady's dress. So we're going to be discussing how to open a file, also how to use a quick selection tool to select the dress. We also talk about zooming in and zooming out. We'll be talking about the move tool. So let's get started. This is going to be our end result, and because I know that I want this dress to be red, I am going to show you one tool that's down here at the bottom is the chips, the color chips. There's black and there's white. Right now the foreground color is black. We want to change that to red because that's the color that we're going to be using to change this dress. The reason why I want this dress red because you want to always color coordinate, make things fit in the scene. So we're going to click on the black chip and we're going to sample something in here. Now the dress is not going to be red, but we're going to sample the pillow. And once we sample the pillow, right here, selected that red that she's wearing, and we're going to hit OK. That's going to change our foreground color over here to red. And so because we have our red, we're going to go ahead and close out this file, and we will start off from the beginning. I'm going to close this file. It asks me, do I want to save? I don't want to save. We're going to go in File, and we're going to open so that we can get the file that we need. We're going to get the scene, which is number 20. And we open up the scene. We can double click on the hand to make this a little bit larger. Okay, made it larger. Now if you wanted it bigger for any reason, you can hit Command and plus, and that zooms in. Or you can minus to zoom back out. Then we go get the lady. We're going to File and Open, and she's number 47. So we click on 47 and hit Open, and there's the lady. Now this is a dress that we want to change from red to the foreground white color. To do that, we can zoom in by hitting Command again, plus, 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 or minus, minus, minus. To select her dress, we're going to use a quick selection tool, and it's over here on the left hand side. If we hold down that button, we're going to see the different things that we can do with that brush. So we click select. Now right now this selection tool is very, very small. To get it big, we're going to do, we can use the, we can use the bracket keys. So the left bracket key will make it smaller, and the right bracket key will make it larger. Okay, now we want this to be rather large right now because we can select more with a bigger brush, but we're going to have to change it to a smaller brush at some point. So let's just click one time. That one time clicked and it selected the whole top of the dress. Okay, so then we move to the bottom. All we're doing is clicking. We can click and drag, and it gets more at one time. Click and drag, and click and drag, and click and drag. So those have selected most of the dress, but we will have to zoom in so that we can see what the selection is like. I can see from the top of her shoulders to the bottom by her knees that we've done well selecting the dress. We're going to use now the Command key and the plus to zoom in so that we can see around the fingers. Okay, this is one way that we can move this dress down by holding down the space bar. And then once you hold the space bar, you can just click and drag. It'll bring it down. All right. So right now, this brush is rather large. And we want to talk about making that brush small. I'm using the left bracket key just to make it smaller. As you can see, in the center of this brush, there is a plus sign. And anytime we clicked on a different portion of the dress, it added to our selection. But we want to now deselect from this selection, minus from this selection, take away from this selection. And we are going to do that by using the minus, the button with the minus in it here, the brush with the minus. So we can get to minus several ways. Right now it's still plus. If I hold down my Option key, it turns to a minus, and I can go minus out things that I don't need. Also, you can just click on the minus and it changes to the minus. Again, this brush is rather large, so we're going to use the left bracket to make it small. And we're just going to click on her fingernail because we do not want her fingernail selected. That subtracted that fingernail. Let's subtract this fingernail. Right now what's selected is the white dress, but also her pink fingernail. We don't want those fingernails, so we're subtracting it out the selection by just clicking. And over here on the same thing on the hand, we're going to deselect her fingernails. So as I was saying, in this lesson, we are learning how to select an object, and that's what we're doing right now. You want to look closely though, because you don't want things like in this area right here. We can go ahead and we want that selected because it's part of the dress. So we go back up and get the plus, and we plus in so we can get in there. Now right here you can see this is portion of the dress as well, right here where it's white at, and right now we don't have it selected, so we're going to go ahead and click in that area. Okay, it's selected. Now right here in her fingernail, if you do not change this and you leave it to be this way, once this dress begins red, you're going to see this white. So while you have an opportunity, go ahead and make your brush smaller by hitting the left bracket, small, a little bit smaller, so you can get in there. If you leave that brush big, it's going to select too much. So right now we still have our fingernail selected. We're going to go ahead and hold down Option, and we're going to click. Now when we hold down Option, remember I said that we are subtracting from the selection. So there we go. That's pretty good. Okay, over here we want to add to the selection by clicking let's see, we're subtracting, I want to say. All right, subtracting. We don't want to select her fingers or her fingernails. We want to select this gray right here because it's part of the dress. So we're hitting plus to select that dress. I think this is a pretty good selection, other than right here we need to take back out our fingernail. And I'm just minusing. I'm subtracting from the selection. Now I remember that those shoes at the bottom has white on them. So let's hold down the space bar to get the hand. And we just clicking and dragging till we get to the shoe. Now we can do something else. We can hit Command and minus so we can get out, zoom out, and now we can see those shoes. I like to zoom back in just a little bit. Okay, then hold down the space bar. All right, here we go. So now right now to select those shoes, we need to make sure that we have the plus, and we do have it selected. And how we know that it's selected? Because it's gray. And we're going to use our left bracket to make the brush just a little bit bigger. Actually, the selection tool. And we click one time and that should get the whole shoe. We click again, that has the whole shoe. Now, let's hold down the space bar so we can look around the dress to make sure that we have a good selection around her shoulders and everywhere. I think it's a very good job. All right, so now what we need now is going to be the layers palette. We can see over in the layers palette we have only one layer, that's layer 1, and that is the lady with the dress. Now in order to change the color of this dress that we have selected, we need a new layer. Let's pull this out so we need a new layer. And so we click layer. So we have layer 2. Layer 2 is where we're going to fill this layer because it's a selection of the dress and it changes the dress. And it's going to change the dress to this red that we have here selected, okay? And so we go up to Edit and Fill. And we have options. We can fill with the foreground, the background. So red is actually our foreground and the white is our background. But so we already have the dress white, so we don't want to fill it with the background. We want to fill it with the foreground. Foreground is already selected, so all we have to do is click OK. Now we don't want this dress to look the way it is. Let's zoom out by hitting Command minus, and you can see that it has already changed the shoes as well as the dress. Now layers are in Photoshop, but there's also blending modes in Photoshop. So we click on, right now it's normal. We go to blending option and we're going to go to multiply. Now most times we can select hue and sometimes we can select color, but that's not going to work here. So in order for us to get it to be the red color that we want it to be, we're going to click the multiply. And that is it to change the dress. Now, the problem we have now is that the dress is still selected, and to deselect this dress, we can do it two ways. We can hit Command D, and that deselect the dress and the shoes. I am going to Control Z to undo because I want to show you there's another option that you can do to deselect this dress. You can go to Select and then hit Deselect. All right. So now in the layers palette, we have layer 2, which is the dress, which is red, and we also have the lady. In order for us to move these two to the scene, we have to combine these two and make one layer. So you click on the bottom layer, I hit Control and right click, and I want to merge visible. And as you can see, it changed the layer to just one layer. And so now we can move her to the scene. There's two ways we can do that. I'm going to show you the easiest way, and it's going to be Edit and Copy. And then we're going to go to the scene, and the scene is number 20 up here. So we click on the scene, and we go to Edit and Paste. Now, I am going to show you another way. I'm going to go back to 47, which is the lady in red. She's one layer. And if we click on the Move tool, which is the first tool up here, you can see it tells you that the Move tool is V. So right now I have the brush, and if I hit V, it's going to go to the Move tool. The Move tool is a little triangle. I can take that and move it to the scene, move her to the scene. All I'm doing is dragging and dropping, and that drops her in. Photoshop is all about layers, and the top layer is the lady in red, and the bottom layer is the lady in red as well. So this is the top layer. If we click on the number 2, it is highlighting this layer, this lady. I click back on layer 3, it's highlighting her. We can get rid of her in several ways. We can drag this layer to the trash can, or we can just turn the eye off and it gets rid of her. Now we're going to deal with how big she is because she's actually too big for the scene. Let's go ahead and get rid of her this way by dragging her to the trash can. Now let's deal with this one layer here, layer 2, which is this lady. She's too big, so there's several ways we can make her small. We can hold down the Shift key and drag. Either we can hold down Shift and Option, and we can also make her smaller that way. I like to use that option. Okay, so now Photoshop is all about layers. We can put her, we don't want her to stand in front of the chair because we really want to show that red pillow there. That's probably hers over there. All right, let's just stand her right here. And that is it. If you have any questions about anything that I've done, you can call me at 225-207-4741 or just inbox me, okay? So you guys have a good day and see you next time.